My honor to ask you to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Fatino, and I am the Idaho State Coordinator for the Ron Paul 2012 campaign. We are so excited to have Dr. Paul here in the house today, and he is going to be out shortly. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming out on such short notice. But the truth be told, this country is on short notice. This current president is leading our economy off a cliff. We need a candidate that's not just going to slow the growth of big government. We need a candidate that's going to turn this country around. Ron Paul is the only candidate that is going to restore America now. Ron Paul is the only candidate that is going to stop runaway spending. He's going to stop the endless bailouts, and he's going to reduce the deficit. But to win Idaho, Dr. Paul needs your help. And there's two ways you can help him. So the first way you can help Dr. Paul is he needs you to come out and caucus for him March 6th. Now, let me be really clear on this point, because some people don't know that we are caucusing this year. The Idaho Republican Party, for the very first time, is going to be selecting its presidential nominee through a caucus on Super Tuesday, March 6th. I'm going to be emphatic. That means we are no longer choosing our presidential candidate at the May primary. If you wait to support Ron Paul with your vote at the May primary, guess what? You're 2 months too late. So you need to be at the March 6th caucus. If you are going to be caucusing here in Ada County, because you live in Ada County, caucus is going to be at the Taco Bell Arena. Doors will be opening at 4 p.m. If you are from Canyon County, you will be caucusing at the Idaho Center. Again, I believe the doors are going to be opening about 4:30 p.m. If you are from another county, and I haven't mentioned your county, you can go to the Idaho GOP's website, which is idgop.org, and it actually has listed on their webpage every single county and where your county caucuses are going to be at. Another thought, 17-year-olds, are you here? 17-year-olds in the house, anybody? Woo! 17-year-olds, you can come out and caucus for Dr. Paul March 6th if you are going to be 18 by the general election in November. So don't think you're left out. 17-year-olds, we want to see you there. It is a very simple roadmap to win Idaho for Ron Paul. If you show up in caucus for him, he will win. Show up in caucus for him, he will win. Now, I want you all to pause and take a moment and to think about some of the other states that have already had their caucuses. And I want you to reflect on how in some of those states and those caucuses, really it came down to just a handful of votes making the difference. Just a mere handful of votes. Your vote at the caucus is incredibly important. Your single vote at the caucus may be the vote that wins it for Ron Paul. Now, Ron Paul is doing his job. He's here, he's running for president. It's time now for you guys to do your job. Show up to the caucus March 6th and show him your support.
All right.
But that's not all. In the meantime, while you're waiting for the March 6th caucus, we need you to come out and start volunteering and phone banking today. Our headquarters in Eagle is having its grand opening today. And if you don't know where that is, let me tell you right now. It's 1500 East Iron Eagle Drive in Eagle. Our grand opening starts at 2:30, but you're welcome anytime. Come on in, we want you all the time. Consider our office your new home for the next 17 days. This is really our chance. This is our chance to show the rest of the nation what Idaho is made of. We need you. We need you to show up and help us phone bake every single day between now and March 6th. That's only 17 days. We have enthusiasm, we have dedication, we have the resources. Now what we need is you. We need you there at the headquarters. We need you there to help us phone bank this state. I know that there were some flyers that were passed out. One side had caucus information for you, the other side had information about our headquarters, so you should have the address on that as well as a map. Come, I really do. I encourage you to come out and help us today, start volunteering today. Now, in closing, I'm sure you've spoken to your family and friends about Ron Paul. You may have handed out literature about Ron Paul, but now is the time for the final push. This is the end game right now. This is the final push before the caucus. Ron Paul is the next president of the United States. No one else is adequate. No one else is adequate other than Ron Paul. Right. In 17 days, Ron Paul takes Idaho. Yeah. All right, now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Mr. Will Grigg. Mr. Grigg comes to us today from Payette, Idaho, where he resides with his wife, Corin, and their 6 children. He is a respected author, editor, and political commentator. Among Mr. Grigg's many accomplishments, he has worked as a senior editor for the New American Magazine. He currently publishes the Pro Libertate blog, which you can find online at freedominourtime.blogspot.com. He is the managing editor for the Republic magazine, and you can find that online as well at republicmagazine.com. He has authored 5 books, the most recent being titled Liberty in Eclipse, The War on Terror and the Rise of the Homeland Security State. Please join me in welcoming our next presenter, Mr. Will Grigg.
Thank you. The country we love is under the rule of an elected dictator who recognizes no limits on his power to regiment our lives, plunder our wealth, and imprison or even kill anyone of his choosing. 3 Republican candidates seek to replace him not because they object to this tyrannical accumulation of power, but because they covet it for themselves. Only one Republican contender seeks the office because he is committed to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in a few minutes we will be privileged to hear from him.
Yeah!
A familiar classic rock tune informs us everybody wants to rule the world. The people who wrote that song obviously were not acquainted with Dr. Ron Paul. Unique among contemporary political figures, Dr. Paul has no desire to rule anybody, but rather to restore the rule of law that is indispensable to the protection of individual liberty. For every other candidate seeking the presidency, all human progress begins with the bureaucrat and the armed enforcer who implements that bureaucrat's decrees. Ron Paul understands that all progress begins with the free individual who is the owner of his life and deserves individual deserves to keep everything he has earned. Everything he has earned. Yeah. Dr. Paul likewise understands that while the right of armed self-defense is indispensable, no government ever improved a person's life by pointing guns at him. For decades, he has courageously opposed the untethered madness of drug prohibition and every other front of the government's ever-escalating war against the Bill of Rights. He does this not because drug addiction is harmless, it isn't, but because there is no deadlier narcotic than power. And government has no authority to dictate what people freely choose to consume. The same government that conjures new powers out of the ether colludes with a quasi-private criminal syndicate called the Federal Reserve to debase the currency in order to fund its grandiose designs. And for decades, Dr. Paul, often alone, has worked to expose the crimes of that officially licensed counterfeiting ring and its role in making debt slaves out of us and our children. And he has waged an unremitting campaign to end the reign of terror conducted by the world's most notorious three-letter secret police agency, the IRS. Alone among Republican contenders, Dr. Paul seeks to restore a foreign policy compatible with that of Washington, Jefferson, and John Quincy Adams. He alone is committed to the actual defense of our country, rather than perpetual military entanglements in the affairs of other countries that do nothing to protect our freedom. Were the framers of our Constitution to interview the current crop of presidential hopefuls, it would immediately become clear that Dr. Paul is the only one with whom they could have an intelligent conversation. That is because the language of liberty is his native tongue, not some unfamiliar dialect from which he borrows an occasional phrase for use during election campaigns. The most important qualification for the presidency is an understanding of the Constitution and the character to preserve, protect, and defend it. Dr. Paul's rivals for the nomination recognize those qualities in him, which is why during debates they habitually defer to his insights whenever constitutional questions are being addressed. And this is why Dr. Paul is the only candidate who, if elected, could take the oath of office without committing an act of public perjury.
Oh, yeah!
We who are blessed to live in Idaho have been given a rare opportunity to cast a consequential vote on behalf of peace, prosperity, and individual liberty in next month's caucuses. Please don't let that opportunity be wasted. Shakespeare wrote, "There is a tide in the affairs of men which taken at the flood leads to fortune, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures." Dr. Paul has helped summon a wave of peaceful, principled rebellion against a government that has long since slipped the chains of the Constitution. Regardless of what happens at the ballot box this November, that wave will continue to grow. But it can and it must carry this uniquely qualified and decent man to the Oval Office. If God is unusually generous, and the American people are wiser than we've recently been, my friends and my fellow Idahoans, I give you the next President of the United States, Dr. Ron Paul.
Yeah!